Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. We pick up directly where we left off with the quelling of the spirit of the Marowaks defeated by Team Rocket, and Roxas has now vowed to take down Team Rocket and all of their nefarious deeds. On arriving up, the familiar Jesse and James stand in defiance, saying that he was foolish to come here, that they will stop him and put him in an early grave. With Meowth appearing, Pikachu steps forward, but Roxas knows better. Normal type Pokemon cannot hurt ghost types, so their Meowth should be all but useless. With a confused Ray down, just to ensure the maximum potential damage from a confusion hit, Roxas is successful, the Meowth damaging itself. And then with blasts of the ghost type Nightshade, but strictly speaking it being typeless, since this ghost move is able to hit normal types, Butterfree finds its mark twice, taking out the Meowth. And moving on to their next Pokemon, the fact that they are both poison types, Roxas now knows that with Haunter being a ghost poison type, there is no reason why he cannot simply win this battle easily. Jesse and James look worried to one another. I don't think the boss is going to like this. When did he get a ghost type, and how did he get a ghost type? They remark on the Sylph Scope and simply sneer. Why would the boss give something like that away? It's no matter. We're gonna have to retreat, James. But you have been a thorn in our side more than once, kid. If you know what's good for you, you'll stop this. Roxas retorts, I've journeyed all the way up this tower. I've had to hear the ghosts of the dead decry your actions. This abomination you've made, the plans you plan to do, exploiting Pokemon for money, but all of this goes so much deeper, so much more foul. Whatever thing you've created that have upset all these Pokemon, I will find it and stop it. They look white. I don't think the boss meant for him to know about that. We better go inform him. Blasting off with an escape rope, Roxas finds the calm Mr. Fugi, who invites him back to his home to discuss more. Let's roll that title card. The power of Pikachu. On arriving back to Mr. Fuji's house after all that has happened, Roxas fills him in about what the ghost Pokemon had said, the abomination that the Team Rocket had made, the bringing to life things that should have stayed dead. He then looks to the fossils. Could they have brought back a fossilized Pokemon? Mr. Fugi, stoic, simply says, I don't think that's what they were discussing, Roxas. I thank you for clearly being the ghostly champion and wanting to stop Team Rocket in their affairs. I think you are brave to do so. My only worry is what you face will be a trial. So what is probably best is for you to take a moment, continue your gym trials, and prove yourself a powerful trainer. For you to make your way down, my colleague who has just arrived in Johto has said, if you're working against Team Rocket, then we can give you a way to get by the Snorlax he left. Play them this particular tune and they should stir awake. Roxas takes the flute, practices it a few times, and then vows to venture south to make his way to Fuchsia. Before leaving, Roxas realizes he's been calling the haunter Butterfree, but he then renames him Chrysalis, the name that he should have had. On visiting the orphaned Cubone, the girl remarks that the Cubone has been able to sleep soundly. Someone must have calmed the spirit of the Cubone's mothers. Healing his Pokemon and getting ready for the journey ahead, Roxas thinks on all that Mr. Fugi had also said. It's clear that his task now is to take these Pokemon fossils and revive them down in Cinnabar Island. But to do that, he would need to cross the seas, one of his biggest fears. He looks to the town map, realizing that there's a pier walkway, and as a kind of exposure therapy, Roxas decides to walk the watery way and make his way down to Fuchsia using the scenic route. Pikachu by his side promises to protect him, and with that he ventures down. Seeing trainers fishing on the pier side, Roxas ends up chatting to a lot of them as he journeys down. Pikachu, promising to protect him from the water types, goes out against Goldeen. Its electrical prowess of Thunderbolt crashing down from the sky, one-shotting the fish instantly. The fisherman shakes his head and says, "Alright, I mean, we said it 2-on-2, but clearly, your Pokemon is going to be far superior." Pikachu, not wanting to relent, blasts each and every Pokemon with a powerful electrical move, leaving them unconscious in the water. As Roxas continues to go down, he remembers the simpler days when Splishy would simply paddle along whenever they were near a body of water. But he figured, even though Gyarados is under control, a lot of fishermen would probably be terrified of seeing a Gyarados in person, and always be that little bit worried that the trainer mightn't have as much control as Roxas definitely has. Seeing with a shock Tentacools, the very Pokemon that ended up dragging his father to his death in Palatown. He is shocked into reality, and Pikachu, sensing this, blasts them with Thunderbolt after Thunderbolt until Roxas can kind of come back more to himself, take a breath, and realise that he's safe. Roxas starts to panic. Is he going to be able for this? To actually journey across the sea, that same sea that caused his father to perish? The more he thought on it, his father was going down to Cinnabar to work. His father was a scientist. Why didn't he think to ask more about this before? Could his father have been involved in the research down in Cinnabar? Could he now be having the chance to revive these fossils, using his father's science to do so? Roxas thought about all the technological advancement that must have happened even in the last 10 years. You've seen Bill being able to merge consciousness of humans into Pokemon. You've seen Pokemon and items being able to be digitized into the PC. And now we're hearing of a machine that's able to bring life to previously extinct Pokemon. What other wonders could Roxas have to be in store? There were even rumors that there was even ways to transport Pokémon through time. Pikachu growing from strength to strength. Every water type struck down by Thunderbolt was another level and another good experience in battle for Peekaboo, who has kind of been a little bit on the fence lately. Just with not having the same amount of power to break down the Ghastly's defenses in the special stat, Roxas continues shaky down to the Snorlax. Realizing that this big bulky Pokemon is just a normal type, Roxas using Chrysalis should be able to take it down. The Snorlax, on hearing the tune, looks Roxas in the eye and challenges him to see if his might is strong enough to progress down to Fuchsia. Chrysalis now using Confuse Ray to confuse the sleepy giant, and then with a blast of Nightshade energy, 27 damage, but isn't more than a flesh wound, as this Pokemon's bulk is to the extreme. The Pokemon then starts using Amnesia, trying to bolster itself against the special attack type damage, but it's all for naught, with Haunter being able to deal exact damage turn after turn after turn. The only worry being if Snorlax is able to sleep off damage and rest back to full health, is it's going to be a war of attrition that Haunter cannot win at its current level. And if it is, what Pokemon is strong enough to take down this beast? Perhaps Splishy with Dragon Rage, literally doing double the damage or thereabouts of Haunter. Nightshade after Nightshade comes. Headbutt, passing uselessly. Roxas chances his arm, throwing a Pokeball, but the Pokeball missed. With it now being in the red, he throws his last Pokeball, but missing again. One final headbutt phasing through the ghostly Chrysalis. Roxas rummages in his bag, hoping to find something, but ultimately cannot. With his chance of capture foiled, he blasts the Snorlax with a final Nightshade, causing it to run up the mountains and leaving the pathway safe. Progressing further down into the sports fishing area, Roxas moves Pikachu back to the top, ready to take on more water type encounters as he goes. But as a surprise, he says, "Oh, you have a Pikachu, bro? Same." Well, not exactly the same, but I took the chance to trade my electric type here. Roxas studies carefully. If it does have electrical attacks, it'll probably be best to keep in Pikachu. But he had heard the rumors of these Pokemon, and that they do like to explode. So by bringing in Chrysalis, Roxas is spared any damage from self-destruct, passing harmlessly through Haunter. Sonic Boom, just like Nightshade, a set damage move, so therefore it will always do the same damage back, and can even hit ghost types, even though it's normal. With Electrode now confused, Roxas tries to use Lick to poison it. Through its confusion, it manages to screech and screech, probably preparing for a superpowered explosion to take out its HP. With another sonic boom, Chrysalis looks rough for wear, but since we know it only does 20 damage, we are in no fear of a knockout. With its HP now in the red, Electrode self-destructs harmlessly, allowing Chrysalis to get all that experience. And the Rocker now furious that his Pokemon couldn't control themselves and not explode. Roxas heals up Chrysalis and continues on the path. But feeling nearly terrified of the water, on seeing a little cottage, Roxas knocks on the door and asks can he come in. The fishing guru simply says that he loves to fish, and Roxas ends up collecting the super rod. Now, as I had mentioned very early on in the series, we are not going to be able to fish due to Roxas having the hydrophobic negative trait. So he is unable to fish or to surf for encounters. So just keeping that in mind, I kind of just collected it for the sake of having it. Now what Roxas then sees baffles him. A trainer with a level 24 Magikarp. Roxas, not wanting to release Gyarados, asks why he raises Magikarp. And he says that they're his favourite Pokemon. He's in fact looking for a golden Magikarp, that's why he keeps fishing them up. But he would be terrified to try and raise a Gyarados, as most of them turn against their trainers upon evolution, and their anger is hard to control. So while he could have had two Gyarados, he simply says, no, it is not worth the fear. I'd rather them be weak so that they can't overpower me. Roxas just smiles and then heads further down the pier, attracting the eye of another trainer. He asks an interesting question. Have you found a Moonstone? Roxas, thinking back to the other girl over by Lavender Town who had the Clefairy. It is obvious that certain trainers have Pokemon that can evolve via the Moonstone, but simply have no way to traverse back to Pewter City to collect them. Roxas says that he does in fact have a Nidoking and a Nidoqueen, at which point the trainer gets very excited and asks after the battle if he wouldn't mind showing him the Pokédex entries, seeing as I have one from Professor Oak. Roxas, on realising how privileged he is to be on this journey, and even though there are trials and tribulations and difficulties as much as there are triumphs, Roxas knows that it's important for him to take the time, use up the energy to be on this quest to try and stop Team Rocket. Without him, would they have had their Celadon gambling ring busted out? Nope. Would the ghosts of Lavender Tower have been able to be quelled without him? No. So more and more, Roxas realizes that this journey isn't just about him becoming a great Pokemon trainer. It's about him and his Pokemon making great changes to the world. So he vows then to never take them for granted, to treat each of his Pokemon with respect every single day, and to make sure that he is going to be the one to stop Team Rocket. No matter what Gary, no matter what anyone else says, he's not going to let them suffer. And that's pretty much the episode, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. As I say, hope you're enjoying the way the narrative is going and how the narration is going. But yeah, we're getting to kind of finally push through some of his phobias, and obviously we need to progress to Cinnabar to make it there. So, you know, we'll just be keeping the hydrophobic for encounters wise, but yeah, Roxas is looking like he's going to make it all the way to Cinnabar, and in terms of our Nuzlocke statistics, we have a great balanced team, we haven't had many deaths, and yeah, we're doing great. So I'll just do like a little roll call of the party members, and that's going to be our episode. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Leave a like and a comment. I read them all and I'm always very appreciative. Thanks so much. Bye bye.